Hey guys. Hey, thank you so much for joining us. We have so much love already and the chats. So thank you so much and welcome to episode 3 of Showing Up Perspectives on Cancer. And just in case you're joining us for the first time, and also a reminder for our amazing people who are with us every week so far, we created this show as a safe space where cancer survivors and cancer supporters come together to share their stories and connect, as well as find resources that provide healing, hope, and resilience. I am Kara Oelker, and I am a daughter, supporter, and personal power advocate. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. Let us know where you're tuning in from around the world. We would love to know. And let us know, what is your connection to cancer as well? Are you a survivor? Are you a supporter? Do you have a family member who's passed from cancer, or some other connection? Let us know. We want to know, and we want this to be an interactive conversation with you. So we're just so grateful that you're here. I'm Tim Sohn. I'm what Kara likes to call the main host of the show. I am a 15-year survivor of cancer and founder of Sohn Social Media Solutions, where we help entrepreneurs, brands, and nonprofits show up on live video to make impact, build relationships, and community, just like right here, through producing and coaching. And tonight, I'm going to be interviewing Kara about her connection to cancer, specifically about her mom. So make sure you show lots of love for Kara in the comments tonight.
Thank you.
But first, we want to go to the comments. We want to shout you out for being here. We want to show love for you all, because we appreciate you taking time out of your schedule. And we always appreciate all of you, but there's someone who shows up here that always has very unique comments, very unique ones. And that's Senor Payasada. And he brought this unique comment tonight. He said, "Standing room only, bringing my shoes that light up at night." So thank you, Senor. We appreciate that. We appreciate your comments.
He's his own club at night, basically.
Yes, his own club.
Oots.
Nancy Barrows is here. She is back tonight. Hey, Nancy.
Yeah. Hey, Lovey. And Brian Schulman.
Yes,
Steve
Brian Schulman
Sullivan.
is here. Carl Sean Watkins is here. That is
hey,
awesome.
Mister.
Jacob is here.
Yeah.
Russ Hedge is here. We appreciate you, Russ Hedge. Cassandra Jolliffe is here again. Thank you so much. Emily Harmon is here. She says her mom is a 19-year survivor of 3 cancers. Her children's father passed away from kidney cancer on December 11th, 2019.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that with us.
And she'll also be on our show.
Yes, she will be on our show coming up.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we're looking forward to that.
Yes.
For sharing her story. Bob Blanchard is here. Thank you for joining us again, Bob. We appreciate it. And there's so many of you. Bill Bradford, good evening. Let us know where you're joining us from tonight. You're always somewhere different. Diana Jackson is here. She is here through Peter Clark, I believe, connected us. So thanks for joining us tonight. That is amazing. So appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
And we are international tonight. Lihia is here from Costa Rica. Thank you for joining us so much. We appreciate it.
Yes. And also a very, very local connection for me, as in the next room. I just want to give a shout out to my roommate. Thank you so much, Aidan. Do you see your comment? Can I put that up? I know I'm not producing today.
Yeah, you can put it up if you see it.
Okay. And thank you so much, Aidan. She's been so awesome. She said my grandfather succumbed to mesothelioma. It was the first major loss of my life. Thank you so much for sharing, and that's huge. Yeah, that would be very impactful for sure. So, and much love to you.
That's so awesome that your roommate showed up for you. That's amazing.
No, my brother is here somewhere too. He was giving me a little pep talk. So thank you, brother.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. So thank you so much for being here. A reminder, let us know what connection you have to cancer. As we go through the conversation, let us know what questions you have for Kara. We're going to go through the conversation every few minutes, maybe every like 15 minutes or something. We'll bring the comments up. So if we don't bring them up right away, no offense. We just want to, focus on, the conversation. And don't worry, you're still on our minds, and we will bring you up, every few minutes. So yeah, for sure. Okay. So this is the first time that Kara is sharing her cancer connection story in depth. And I want to thank her for being willing to share it here in this safe space. And know, bestie, that we're all here to support you, and we love you, and take your time as we go through this conversation. Yeah. So you have several connections to cancer. It's been present your whole life. One connection is your mom. Can you share a bit about your mom's journey?
Yes. So my mom, she was 32 when she had me. And my brother, he is not yet 7 years older than me. So when she had breast cancer, when I was 2.5, 3 years old, like during that time frame, my brother was a little older, and she was so just a young mom in her 30s. And she was going through, she not only, was going through the cancer battle, but she was also getting her master's, and she was doing student teaching. And she had my brother and I, and she had, my dad, her husband, her, young husband. They had just been married like a year, and I arrived. So it was still a young marriage. And so in the 80s, she was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer, and she survived it, and she just blazed through it and fought it hard. Went to school, completed that, ended up becoming a teacher at Cincinnati Public Schools, worked real hard, and then she ended up being a teacher in Indiana, in a small town of Indiana. And I was around between, I thought I was 17, but doing the kind of calculations in my head, I was 15 at the time. And because I remember the history class that I was in, and I was 15. And so still, she was young, and she was in her 40s. And she was diagnosed with stage 2 uterine cancer. So she beat that, had total hysterectomy, everything. Life moved forward, right? We're just doing the best we can. Bam. And then when I was 27, 28, she was diagnosed with lung cancer. And again, like, partial lungectomy, everything, chemo, all of that, blazing through. My mom, my grandma also was dealing with cancer herself at the time, so it was pretty hard. My mom's mom. So so my grandma eventually succumbed to her cancer, gastrointestinal cancer, and it was really hard on all of us, especially my mom. And she started acting a little strange. We thought it was grief, and it ended up being brain cancer. So from there, it was a year and a half from that point where she, my mom, eventually succumbed to brain cancer. So keep in mind the breast cancer, uterine cancer, lung cancer, not related at all. And if you do the math, it's about 13 years apart from these three cancers. So it was like 13, 13. And then the lung to brain was metastatic. So it's just very interesting how that happened. But when I say that I dealt with cancer my whole life, it's not a joke. Like it was. And that was my mom's story. And it consumed most of her life as well.
Send Kara lots of love in the comments, everyone. I'm sending you lots of love, Kara. Can you feel it? I'm sending it to
Thank
you.
you. I still love your heart tattoos on your forehead.
Thank you. Yes, they're permanent. Maybe I should get permanent ones. What do you think?
Yeah, it's like instead of prison, like daycare, maybe. Sorry,
Senor
I had to
Paisano,
like
let
do
us
it.
know.
I
What's
had
your
to do a
opinion on
joke right
this?
now.
So we talked a little.
Thank
So
you,
we talked about
Nancy.
your mom's journey. So how and when did you find out that your mom had cancer? And do you remember what your reaction was? And did your brother find out at the same time, or how did that work?
So the first time breast cancer, it was 2.5, 3 when we were all dealing with it. My brother was 9 and 10. So he was told up front. And I'm not going to tell his story because it's not my story to tell. I just know that it's very impactful. And he was able to internalize it on a much deeper level at the time than I did. For me, I was just dropped off at people's houses, like people I knew, of course, but like it was like slumber parties. So for me, I'm
Not
like,
just some
oh,
random
slumber parties.
strangers.
Yeah, no, not strangers, but like my mom's best friend. Like I remember just like running around her basement watching Ninja Turtles and like hanging out with her son, and just like we're just little kids just being cute. But all the earliest memories that I remember were tied to like when my mom had breast cancer. So one of my aside from me running around in the basement, I remember like running through the halls of Mount St. Joseph University. Now that's what it's called. My mom went to school there. I did too, but I remember just running around being like, ooh, and so like, ooh, spooky. And so, but all that was tied to when my mom had cancer. So just growing up, it was just a known thing. Like I just knew it. And then when it happened the other times, it literally was like, get up and run. Like we're just like running there for my mom. Especially when it got to the brain cancer. Like with the uterine and the lung cancer, it was like everyone just kind of found out at different times. We like rallied together. We were protecting mom and whatever. Um, when the brain cancer happened, I actually was with mom for a week because we're like, why is she acting odd? Like, what's going on? And I was like, come on, let's go. We gotta do something. And we were able to get appointments. My aunt really helped push to make things happen. We all like get her up there. I drive her up there. We all go to the hospital for the appointment, and they admit her right away, right? So the second that happened, brain cancer wise, it was like we were an emotional cocoon for her, and all we thought about was protecting and like protecting her and making sure that she felt okay. And like we weren't thinking about being terrified. Like we had no feelings. We were just there, like literally emotional armor around her to make sure she was okay.
Right, right. Look at some of the comments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So many great things.
Yeah.
So many wonderful comments.
Jason has a question. He says, how did your mom feel about having cancer for so many years?
So I think it's in one of your questions too, and that like my mom was just so, and this is such a good question, Jason. Hi, we love you.
Love.
Yes. My mom, she was just terrified and she let it rule her. And I don't blame her. How do you not, right? Especially like once, okay, fine, right? But twice, three times, like how do you not let it rule you? In fact, whenever she would have health issues, we automatically would be like, it's cancer, and that was just an inevitable for her, and it was very daunting. It was very exhausting. And as an adult now, as a woman now, I see how defeating that could feel, and how on one hand you want to live your life and carpe diem and all of that, and on the other hand you're so scared, you're stuck. And so that was the overall feeling from um, the moment she had breast cancer until the very end.
Lihia said, my mom always smiled. Nobody imagined she was dying. During chemotherapy sessions, she tried to help others by telling them funny stories.
Yeah. That I'm so sorry to hear about your mom. And I mean, that's very sweet of her to do that. And on the other hand, it probably helped her too. Because if you're trying to make other people smile, it's bound to make you smile and kind of take a break from all the heaviness. Like chemotherapy session rooms are so, you walk in there and it's so heavy. So, your mom sounds like she was just such a wonderful woman.
Mariah, hey Mariah, thanks for being here. She says, holding space, light, and love and energy for all who are or have experienced cancer. Kara, Tim, Lihia.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bob says, hugs to you, Kara. Thanks for sharing this with us.
Thank you, Bob.
Diane says, my biggest question is, how do I tell my daughter not to worry? Like, how would you tell your daughter not to worry?
Don't tell her not to worry. Honestly, and I'm being completely honest, don't tell her not to worry. But don't tell her to worry either. you know? Um like I want to make that clarification. Like don't tell her to worry. Like don't and Tam, you and I have talked about this. I feel that if I were to somehow rewrite my own history, and I have in my own mind, if I were to somehow, if things just worked magically as a child, like the objective facts would have been given, and then we don't know, but we're doing this. This is our plan, and we love you, and this is what we're doing, and we're gonna focus on love and light, and it's okay to worry, and it's okay not to worry. It's okay to have all of the feelings, all of them.
Yeah, for sure. And we have been talking about this, and I'm not going to share what's going on in my head right now because this is about your story tonight, but I'm sure it
And
will
you're
come up
really
again.
dark and twisty right now.
Hey,
We love you.
I'm trying to not let that show. Those hearts are wifting out. So thanks for giving that away. Lahia says, my mom gave us one of the greatest examples in life. She passed away from cancer melanoma after 5 years of struggling. Sending you love, Lahia. But she had an amazing attitude through those years. She was 59.
That's so young. Yeah.
Yeah. You guys have so many comments. We love you. Okay. So bestie, your mom went through several bouts of cancer. As her daughter, what was that experience like, and what was your relationship like with your mom?
The whole experience was terrifying because I didn't know why growing up I needed to be so quiet. Why was everyone so quiet? From the get-go, there was kind of this cocoon. And like, why is everyone so quiet? So I wasn't going to make noise. I wasn't going to make movements. Um, Goals, looking ahead, growing up, being older, that wasn't really, it wasn't not encouraged, and it wasn't encouraged because the goal was just like every day it was just this air of cancer, and not knowing what that meant, it felt like even from the get-go that if mom didn't have a future, I didn't have a future, and like what would that look like? And always faced with the inevitable and not knowing when that was going to happen, and it going through like a good chunk of my life, and having that time with my mom. I have a lot of amazing memories with her, a lot of good memories. I also have a lot of trying memories too, out of frustration, because mother-daughters mothers and daughters are notorious for like, and and also just because of her cancer, and I didn't understand why she was the way she was, and I just wanted her to be my mom. And
Yeah.
so I feel like there was that kind of separation too, a little bit, because of that, and that emotional distance. And yeah, and again, like looking back, I don't, I'm like, I get it, totally get it, but in the moment I'm like, I just need some sitcom love. Can I just have it? And so but yeah, so that was our relationship, just yeah.
So after
Oh
your mom,
yeah, car fights. Sorry, Maria Roos is like, it's always a love-hate relationship, car fights. Oh, yeah, I don't like cars.
hey, stop being producer over there.
Sorry.
So after your mom passed, how old were you? What were your feelings then? How did her passing affect you, and how does it affect you today? And what has that journey been like for you since her passing?
Yeah. So I am okay, I'm trying not to be a producer. I'm reading all the comments.
Stop it.
Uh,
We'll get there.
yeah. Ooh, yeah. So
I get it though.
I was 30 when my mom passed. Um it was January of 2015, and my birthday is in May 20th. And so I hadn't quite turned 31. Um, yeah, it was snowy. It had snowed, and she we made sure, like hell, to make sure that she passed at home. We wanted to make sure to do that, and we really, my brother and I really broke ourselves to make that happen. Um, like we should not have been there to care for her, but we did, along like round clock for a month. And hospice was there to help, but it was rough. And that whole experience, I don't want to get into that too much because it can be triggering. And my point, I guess, is to talk about my experience, and know that there could be some topics, some points that are a little too much if I go too deep. So, but that whole experience, you're never really prepared for when a person dies. And unfortunately, I've seen people pass before. Seeing my own mother pass was a whole other different experience too, because in my mind, I still was in protection cocoon mode, and it wasn't like, it wasn't like, oh, let's just have this hallmark, ending together of love or whatever. It was more like I'm still watching you, and I'm still protecting you. Like that's pretty much just ingrained in my DNA. It's not like, how do I love you, Julie? It's how do I protect you? I like you, so I'm protecting you. So, FYI, guys, and ladies and future suitors, like you've been warned. Future friends. And so that was tough. And so it just had a huge, profound effect on me, because I was like, well, this is really it. Like this is it. And like I remember every single second of that day. Every single second. And it was just I still felt like I needed to protect her, you know? And that was my mentality. That was my go-to. That was what I did to survive. And that's what I still kind of do. And my grief, like I move in and out of it, and I make sure to embrace everything, all the aspects, like every single aspect. Um, but yeah, it affected me deeply in more ways than I could ever describe. And for
Are
yes,
you still looking at the
Aiden.
comments? Hey, I have one more question
No.
before we're doing the comments.
Oh, okay.
So I have a plan. I have a run of show in my head that includes when the comments are coming up. So Bestie, did the passing of your mom affect the relationship you have with your dad and your brother? Did it bring you closer together or farther apart?
So I've clicked off the comments now.
Good.
And
Enough of
yeah,
that.
sorry about that. Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry.
seriously.
I know. You're killing the show, girl. Um
Seriously.
yeah. um yeah, so what's interesting is that, okay, so my mom and dad were married for a long time, and they separated, divorced. Dad remarried. A few years later, mom got sick and, passed away. And that was very hard for my dad. He What's interesting is that and I've said this to you before, Tom, I'm very much like my mom and I'm very much like my dad. So
Yes.
it's like take two people exactly how they are and put them as one person, and that is me. So he was very much like, I know that you have this notion to protect your mom and be there for her emotionally or whatever, and I'm going to be here. And so that was fine. And then after the when the funeral happened, he was just torn up, and I don't think he ever really recovered from that. And I never really got a chance to ask him. I talked to him. I talked to him in May, or I talked to him in April of that year. And it was just casual chat, and it was a good first step because we didn't know how to navigate our relationship after that. And then 2 weeks later, he passed away from a tractor accident. So not only did I have to process the feelings with my mom, but I processed the sudden death of my dad. And then the fact that I felt that in all my protecting, I missed out on a relationship that I really wanted to invest in, and it was my fault. And I felt like it was my fault. And then, and he understood though. And it was so just a shame. So it was just processing all of that. And that was really tough. As for my brother and I are super close, and we don't hang out every day. We don't chit chat every day. But we have each other's back, and nobody messes with one without getting the other. And it's terrifying. We terrify people. So
You'll be warned.
yeah. And then we're also just hilariously stupid together. So, but he's my person,
Awesome.
and he's the only one in this entire world who knows, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to brother.
Yeah. For sure. Okay, we can do comments now. Emily Harmon
Okay.
said, "It is really hard to have a former spouse, children's father, pass away from cancer. I can only imagine how your father felt, Kara. So many perspectives to consider."
Yeah.
Maria
Thank
said,
you,
"You can't
Emily.
really, oh, sorry. You can't really blame yourself for it," she said.
Yeah. I know that now, but at the time, oh, you betcha. Ooh, oh. And Chris, thank you for the thumbs.
Aiden said, "I
Oh
can't
my
imagine
gosh.
that." Yeah. Aiden said, "I can't
Yeah,
imagine that. The closest I've come to facing my parents' mortality, and by extension my own, was when my dad went through a heart transplant. Now I know how sacred this time is."
Yeah.
James
Thank
says,
you.
"Sorry for the loss."
Thank
Senor
you.
says, "Pinion branches." Always pinion
Thank you.
branches.
We love you. We don't know what's gonna fly out of your mouth, but
Yes. Phyllis is here. Thank you, Phyllis. Maria says, showing her support.
Jason says great interviewing. Tim Zone.
Yeah, I passed by that one because I'm too humble. But thank you.
So we're going to work on him not being so humble. Maybe one day.
Yeah. Lehia says, "Thanks a lot. This is an amazing community. Much love for all of you, Tim Stone and Kara Oelker." Thank you, Lehia. We
Thank
love
you.
you. Thank you for
We
saying that.
do. We love you.
Jason said sitcom love. Is that what you were saying before?
Yeah, sitcom love.
Jason wants to know, how did you find the powerful voice you have now?
Hmm. Decent. Um, I mean, tapping into my mama's spiciness. I told you, like she was she was a force. She was a force, and I don't know. It just that aspect just seems natural, you know. Especially now, just learning afterwards. It's like, so what do I do, right? And what do I do with my life? And really learning about myself. Really deep diving into that, and that's been an experience. It's been an evolution, but it's been one that has been very necessary, not just for me, but for my mom, for the fact that she raised me, and my parents raised me, and might as well just, you know, if not for me, but I do this every day for me, but especially for my parents. Like, I have no choice but to just, maybe not be as much like Senor Payasada, but, just go with whatever just flows out of my mouth.
Maybe
Just
like a
go with it.
balance, maybe not quite as extreme at
Full,
moments.
graceful flair.
Yeah. Lihia says, Kara, you are an inspiration for us, and I admire you so much. We are all in this together.
Thank you. I'm surprised I'm not ugly crying right now, but I feel like she's going to help,
You're doing
like,
awesome.
blow that to smithereens.
Oh, sorry. Byron says, thank you for sharing your story, Kara. I lost my mother 30 years ago and she was 56. I miss her every day.
Yeah.
And Elizabeth says, hola, Tim and Kara. Thanks for the space where people can share their stories, and thanks for giving support and love to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Greetings from Santiago de Chile.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah, Byron, my mom was 63, and it's just, or she was 62. She didn't get to be 63. And it's tough. It's like so young, right? So young.
So you ready for the next question, Bestie?
Mm-hmm. I'm going to banners now.
Okay. So Bestie, you are a personal power coach. Is there a tie between that and your cancer connection journey? And what the heck is personal power anyway? What does that mean?
Yeah. So, I mean, I started out, okay, so full disclosure, I used to be a teacher too, guys, shocker. And I was a teacher I subbed for 2 years, taught for one, went into the business world more so after that for a long time. And the last few years, I was like, with my health stuff and all of this, like, I really want to do something more impactful. So I was certified to be a health and life coach. I'm like, yeah, I had gut issues. I went through it. I worked through it. It's all fine. Like, let's focus on gut health. And through there, a lot of your gut is everything to do with personal power. Everything. And, but I was still avoiding the big C word for me, which is cancer. And nobody needs to know about that. Nobody needs to know about my life. Nobody needs to know about that. Right. And it just became more and more so that the people that I was coaching all had just strong ties to this deep sorrow unearthed in them that caused them to lose their personal power along the way. And I was like, let's focus on that, because I've been doing it anyways. And let's just go with it. And it just feels more natural now. And when I mean personal power, it is anything can happen in this world and you still have yourself. And so what are you going to do to that? Or what are you going to do about that? Yeah, a lot of times you have to react. If a car just pulls out in front of you and you almost get hit, of course, react to that, right? But a lot of times there is this balance of, are we in survival mode all the time, or do we allow ourselves to thrive? And from there, you can be more responsive instead of reactive. And what does that look like? What do you look like? And how do you own yourself and your power, your flaws, your strengths, your everything? How do you own that? And how do you be a good human being for yourself and your personal power? And I feel like that is just such a huge thing, and it's ever evolving, and it's just so important. And especially now, Tam, hurt you big time, because I honestly, if I had never, if Mark Lee and Nancy Burroughs never had any play into us meeting somehow, I would never share my story ever.
God.
But
Gosh.
personal power to me has everything to do with just my mom's journey living with cancer, and how that affected her as a woman, as a strong woman, very strong, very intelligent. And, to be honest, I feel like every day I do this for her too. If I could,
That's amazing.
if I just if I help other people, then I'm somehow helping my mom, and maybe one day I'll help someone who also has a daughter, and
Yeah.
I don't know, it's that big to me, and I'm no longer ashamed of that. I'm no longer nobody wants to hear my story. My hope is that this resonates with somebody, and then it just helps you feel that you can be in your personal power a little bit, even when, just like a better word, sorry guys, shit hits the fan. You have yourself, and there's someone else in the
Remember
world
this.
who's
Yeah,
been
sorry.
and this.
I was
Sorry,
just
is
going
this
to
not a
say it's
show
okay to
like
say
that?
that because this is the Cancer After Hours show, so it's okay.
Oh, okay,
Remember.
good. We haven't really tested cuss words yet, so this is good.
No. Yeah, it's an experiment.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm just so proud of you and I'm so glad we're doing this together.
Thank you. Me too.
I think it's just so, just for I think we're both learning as we're sharing our stories. And I don't want to speak for you, right? Speak for yourself, of course. But
I
I
mean, you
know
can, but
I can speak. I can be your spokesperson.
on this instance.
Yeah. I just I think we've both been just processing a lot, right? As we're sharing our stories, just internally, we're going through so many different emotions and thinking back of different memories and thinking forward of how different decisions are going to affect us and how different decisions we've made in the past have affected us. And it's just a lot of growing, I think, in a good way, but in a heavy way, but in a positive way, but in a sometimes stressful way, but in a sometimes wonderful way. Does that make any
Yes.
sense at all?
Yeah, guys. So full disclosure. Okay. Tom had already shared a story, and I threw in a couple curveballs in the interview, but I did this in advance, so he already knows. So when we kind of planned for the run of show for last week, it seemed like a smooth transition, and that was awesome, right? So then the run of show for this week happened last week. And I was like a wombat. Like I was a rabid, angry wombat. I was like, why are you asking me what you're asking me? Like, and then I'm like, I'm a mess right now. I'm so sorry. He's like, you're good. You're good. You're good. It's bringing it up for you. It's fine. Just walk it off. It's fine. And
I didn't say that. But you wanted to connect with other people that were going or had gone through similar things, right?
Yeah, you were like, feel your feelings. It's fine. I'm like, and then if you need to talk, let me know. Like, and you were super sweet to me, super sweet. But it was terrifying. I didn't expect to feel so, because you want to get it right. Like I've just wanted to get this right.
Yeah, I get it. And when I told my story, I started telling it in June. This is only your first time sharing your story. I'm sure you'll share it many other times, and it'll get I don't know if easier is the word, but maybe easier is the word. Like gradually, like you'll get gradually maybe more comfortable sharing your story.
Yeah.
Especially when people show up for you and support you, like all the amazing people here. Yeah.
You guys have been awesome.
Yeah.
I feel like, when you're in it, when you're in your feelings, you know how to do that very well, right? And then when you go to a different level of healing or a level of understanding, it's really rocky and you don't know what the heck you're doing. And then it gets better, right? And I'm kind of wondering if that's the same thing here, just talking about it. You're gonna be more comfortable and more in it, more own it. And honestly, I feel like with the shame removed from that now, and I don't want to, the big thing, I don't want to dishonor my mom in any way. If anything, I don't want anyone to ever forget her, ever. And so I'm just going to talk about how much of a badass she was and about how sweet she was and so much of a fighter she was. And, and I love her laugh. I miss her laugh. And yeah, I don't know. I just, I appreciate you guys so much, all of this. And I appreciate this space. Tom, thank you.
Thank you. And you just described yourself, by the way, also.
Oh.
And you were describing your mom. So could you talk a little bit in terms of
P&G? Would you like to sponsor us?
Sorry.
Puffs.
Puffs. Paging Puffs. Paging. Welcome to the Puff segment of the show. We'd be happy to include a segment, Puffs. P&G. Yes. Do you want to talk a little bit?
I will run down to P&G and force them to talk to us.
You should do a live video of that. Well, maybe that might not work well with their PR department in actually getting them to sponsor the show.
I'm kidding, Aiden.
So could you talk a little bit more in terms of what transpired and what inspired you to share your story now after you've been impacted by cancer your entire life? What led you to sharing it now?
I mean, in addition to just the fact that coincidentally, you and I meeting, it just helped. It just sparked that, right? Also, in my individual healing and grieving and all of that, there's more of an understanding. And it's very interesting in the world we live in, and especially Western society, where you have 3 days to grieve. You have 3 days off work. Um, for a parent. So off topic, like if you lose both within a short amount of time, like you're like me, you're like, do I get more days? Because I have a lot of grieving to do, right?
Yeah.
And so it's just it's a process, and it takes years to really understand the depth of your feelings and grief and love and the person you lost as the person they were, not as the person you think of them as, because as years go by, that changes. Your grief, your relationship with grief, your relationship with them changes. And so to do it right, to really do it right, it's to go through all of it. And I think I'm just at that point where I'm still going to always evolve, but um, I just want to do that with a piece of my mom, a piece of my parents with me every time I do it now. I'm ready to take them with me emotionally and be like, okay, let's do it. Let's do this.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's so amazing. And I think it's so like you need to tell your story when the time is right for you, right? Like you've been impacted by cancer your whole life. I've survived with cancer for 15 years, right? After 15 years I'm sharing my story. So like you don't have to share it when you're comfortable, right? If you're going to
Yeah.
share your story, like if you're not comfortable, then don't do it yet, right?
Yeah. And it really is like every bit to do with, like, it's not about me. It is about my parents and preserving them. And it's about other people feeling the same way that they do in their grief of whoever they've lost. And it's about just that representation of somewhere along the line, there's another, there's someone who has been dealing with things the way that you have, or have had the same experiences. And how do we connect as humans? Well, the first thing to do, like a good start, is to just share, and then it's
Yeah.
just contagious. Even if it's just one-sided, the person will still receive it. And that's the important part.
Yeah. So let's go to some comments. There's so many comments
Mhm.
coming in.
Yes. Oh
Yeah.
my
Phyllis
gosh.
Phyllis said her dad passed away. Hi, Phyllis. Thanks for being here. Her dad passed away in September. I'm so sorry, Phyllis. I didn't know that.
Oh
And
my
I'm just
gosh.
starting to be able to focus on work. It's been over 2 months. 3 bereavement days is definitely not enough. It's so hard.
Oh my gosh, Phyllis. No, it's not enough. And thank you so much for sharing. Please make sure that you give yourself time to cry and to feel all the feels, and to groups are good. If you're able to get with a grief counselor, that is extremely important. So right away, as soon as possible, there are a lot of resources, um, and it's very intimidating at first, but you need all the guided support as possible, for sure. And if you need just another human to talk to who's been through the same way, please, I don't know if we're connected, but let's connect. And I'm more than happy to simply just listen.
That's awesome. Phyllis lives near me. She's an amazing human being.
Oh.
Diane said 37 years later, she still grieves the loss of her mother to breast cancer, and 10 years after, cancer took her father. Totally cherish all the memories, have no regrets, and kick ass.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Thank you for
I'm
sharing.
excited to continue to connect and learn more about you, Diane. Thank you so much.
Elizabeth said, my mom had stomach cancer in 2017, and she is a big fighter. She survived. She taught us to enjoy the life every single day as the last, not worrying about small things and enjoy the simple things in life like air, animals, butterflies, flowers, sunshine, day, sunset, and the most important thing, the family. The lesson the situation left us was you die one time, but live all days. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I really like that quote actually. Because that is true. Like when you, I mean, death is such a huge thing and it's so final. When you die, though, there's everyone else around you that's like, we're still living. And, um, and also, like, on the other hand, like, you're going through something traumatic and you're living every day in it. And you don't know when that time is going to come. So I love the whole aspect of living every moment and paying attention to the butterflies and all the beautiful things around you. I love that imagery.
I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh, are you okay?
Jason Freeman.
Aging Sherman. Oh, he's in the country. We use toilet paper in the country for tissues.
You're killing me, Jason. Thank you for bringing laughter, though. We appreciate it. We love you, Jason Freeman. Melody says, I'm sure your mom is very proud of you. Yes, for being courageous enough to be this vulnerable to help others.
Thank you. I'm not going to lie. Again, not wanting to disrespect or bring up anything that I shouldn't. Stay in my lane, right? I also have been terrified. I was terrified for years of if I ever tell people, am I going to sound like I'm attention seeking or, again, like saying something wrong or out of turn. At the end of the day, though, it is again about representation because if we all stay quiet about the things that define us, then when do we ever give ourselves permission to, to really just be all that we're designed to be? And how do we help inspire others to do the same? And so I just appreciate you to the moon and back. I hope that this does come across and everything that it's intended to be. Pretty much a huge love letter to my mom and just representation and nothing more than that.
Mariah says, I used to tell my patients and their support people, there is no right way, no wrong way. There is only your way to do difficult. Give yourself space, time, and healing light and energy always, and days where you're allowed to create a blanket fort where you can take a rain check on adulting.
Where do you live? Let's create a fort. I'll just hang out in your backyard, Mariah. Hang out. Just in the backyard. Just eat snacks. Away. Just forts.
Aiden said, it is nearby. That must be PNG.
It is.
Jason is paging Tide. He's paging Puffs. Thank you, Jason. Bob says, I think that many of us are used to and want to be the support pillars for others. We don't always know how to receive or ask for support when we need it. I know it's hard for me to accept it. I always try to be the giver, but receiving is hard. Those of us battling cancer need to learn how to receive, as that is a form of giving too.
That is a very hard thing to do. Receive. So easy to be like, no, I got you. Like, no, I don't want you to have me, you know. So it's a hard thing to do. And I can't even imagine if you're going through the cancer experience, you're already feeling just just so in deep with your own experience. And you're like, no, just leave me alone. Let me do my own thing. Just, and a lot of times, my mom, she would be like, let me do my thing. And other times she'd just be like, I just need you here. And um, so it is a very important thing. I think all of us as humans, if you are a people pleaser or if you just don't want to be a bother, learning what receiving is and feeling comfortable in that and learning what that looks like for you, not what the other person wants it to be for you, but what it looks like for you.
Jason says, what would both of you tell someone who kind of wants to, but still has some reluctance about sharing their stories about cancer?
What do you say, Tim?
I would say that share it. First of all, share it when you're comfortable doing it. I was going to say have an intention behind it, but when I shared it, three things came together that I just felt like it was time after 15 years to share my story. I had no intention of sharing my story, like ever, except that Jenny Gold invited me on her show, and her show is all about autoimmune everything.
Yeah.
I started creating Radiating Real posts, which Nancy Barrows created that movement, and it's all about showing up as your beautiful, authentic self in the moment. Basically creating more personal content as opposed to business content and just showing up as you are. You don't have to be all polished and shiny. You can be as unsexy and whatever as you want. Just be you. And so I was doing that already. And Steve Sullivan, who we're going to be interviewing next week, who is a 35-year acute leukemia survivor, he created a video on LinkedIn. He posted a video on National Cancer Survivor Day in June, sharing his story. And all these things happened in the same week. And I just felt like it was time. I just felt like, and I did not really believe before all of this that the universe tells you things, like all that what one might call woo-woo stuff. I did not believe in all that. But all these things happened, and I was like, so first of all, sorry that was so long, but
Yeah.
so I didn't have an intention behind it. But what did happen was, first of all, I connected with other leukemia survivors, that they reached out to me. I reached out to them, and specifically on LinkedIn. In LinkedIn, I put leukemia survivor in the title, among other things that are in it, but it says leukemia cancer survivor. So if people search in LinkedIn for leukemia survivor or cancer survivor, they might find me and they might connect with me because I'm also a survivor. And other things that have happened are, here we are right now. This show would not have happened, if Radiating Real didn't happen, and if Mark Lee didn't show up, then we would not be here, because Mark Lee encouraged you to come on Shout Out Saturday. Is that what happened?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then I
I
was on
didn't
Shout
even
Out
know what it
Saturday.
was. I was like, what do these weird people do? Like, are we all
Yeah.
just going crazy due to COVID? Like, what is going on? Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Super fun
so
show, by the way. Shout out Saturday. We love you, Brian and Nancy.
yes, we're sure that you're still here. So thank you for sticking with us this long. So we
Yeah.
appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, I would say share it when you're comfortable, and it's going to connect you with people that have been through similar experiences. You might end up on calls with people You might end up on creating a live show or as a guest on other live shows, sharing your story and inspiring other people or inspiring other people to share their stories. Okay, that's my short answer. Your turn.
I say all of that is great because it starts the steamrolling, but start with telling the story to yourself. Notice the feelings you have behind it. What what are these feelings of reluctancy? Why are you feeling reluctant? For me, it was shame, tremendous shame, like shameful of shame that you could not believe. And also feeling that if I told my story, no one would believe me. Because as a kid, it's like grief in general, anyways. Like, oh well, that happened to your mom. Get over it. She's fine. She's alive now. Get over it, right? So, for so long, I didn't want to say anything because, again, shame and not around my mom, but at all. I wasn't ashamed of my mom having cancer or story, but I was having the huge shame of, like, you know, I wish I knew how to automatically, like, I wish I knew how to magically just help her, right? Like, if I somehow became this automatic person, like, I guess the shame was around, like, somehow what if I could have saved her kind of thing, which is crazy. Like, when you're 2 or 3, like, that's weird. But back in the back of my mind, like, and I've done a lot of reworking around this too, a lot of talking to little Kara about this. And but for me, those feelings of shame and uh, being invalid, or the risk of that, really prevented me from sharing for such a long time, even sharing to myself. Like, no, it's not a big deal. I just denied that part of me even existed, part of the family even existed, even when it was happening. Like, oh, it's life. So really understanding that reluctancy around that, um, and telling that story. Start by telling the story to yourself. Then that'll help. That would be a good start, I think. What do you think? Yeah.
Diane says this.
I mean, I agree. Women have so many other amazing features you can just fall in love with. It's crazy. And that's crazy. See, that's crazy. Hey, DJ.
Hey, DJ, thanks for being here. Dimitri is here from Guatemala. Hey, Dimitri.
Hey.
Jason.
Oh, I love Jason. Thank you.
Hey, Inger. Inger's here from Canada.
Thank you, Inger.
Diane loves all that you were saying.
Oh, thank you.
Nancy
Diane, I
Lewis
really
Hills.
want to talk to you because, like, we really need to put together something for a dating site, even if it's for, like, a random someone else. I really want to, like, work the algorithms and see if we can't, like, sneak that in there somehow. I feel that that's a challenge. I really want to do. So let's talk.
Hey, Nancy Lewis Hill. She says, "Isn't it amazing how we have thoughts of keep it quiet when truly our journey through challenges is exactly what others out here need?"
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we're back to the pinion branches. Oh, but I think that was the second pinion branch comment. And Nancy says, "That's a beautiful summary. Come on, click. It's not working. It says, one day you die one day, but you live every day."
Yeah.
Emily says Kara Oelker is a good listener. She listened to me a few days ago.
Emily Harmon, if any of you are not connected with her on LinkedIn, please do. She is an extraordinarily strong woman, and super, like, super articulate, very sweet. She's like equal parts tough and total, just warm, beautiful being. So get in touch with her. Emily Harmon's pretty amazing. And if you just put her name together with the .com, that's her website. And so check it out. Yes, connect with them. Thank you. You're such a good producer. I hope to be
Thank
like you
you.
one day.
You are an amazing producer.
Mhm.
When not this week though, because you can't
Yeah.
be. It's not allowed this week. And Diane is laughing about before.
Yeah. Let's do
Okay.
it.
All right. So going back to questions. Yeah. So you recently went on a walk in support of brain cancer in memory of your mom. Tell us about the walk and why do you go on it?
So there is this walk in Cincinnati. It's this past year was the 12th year. So it's called Walk Ahead for a Cure for Brain Cancer, for brain tumors, brain cancer. But if you go on walkahead.org, yes, thank you, Tom. Then like you can learn all about it. You can also donate it or donate to it. But it's just a walk we do every year. We started the last 2 years that mom was alive. We all went. There have been some years where it was like a huge family affair, and we all were there. And most of the time, it's just been my brother and I, and we go. Even last year, it was like a virtual one, but we still like we wore masks the whole time. We walked 6 feet away from each other. It was cold, and we just still walked. And we walked what the course would have been. And we do this for mom because, well, we did it with her when she was alive. And it's just another way to kind of keep that memory alive. And it is a good cause. It's through UC Health and UC Medical Center. They're just cutting edge in terms of brain cancer treatment in general. Brain, brain, like neurology and anything related to the brain is their thing. So, and also, I do want to kind of do a side note too. I'm wearing gray. It's kind of a coincidence, but a good one. And also, if you notice, our background in some of our stuff is gray with red, but gray is it's the color for brain cancer, like gray matter. And so I really wanted to have that piece into it, TAM, leukemia, and then a little touch of mom. So gray. And we get our gray gear on and all that, and we go every October. So middle to the end of October, we always go on this walk. So check it out. Yeah, walkahead.org.
That's awesome, especially that you used to go on the walk with your mom and you keep that memory alive. That's so cool.
So the last time, sorry, real quick, the last time we went, we didn't even make the whole course. It was like 3 miles. It was like
Yeah.
mile in. We're like pushing her up the hill in a wheelchair. We're like, it's exhausted. And we're like mile in. She's like, well, that's fun. I went waffles. Like, what? Like she was done. She was totally done. Like she went to waffles. We got her waffles.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Waffles are important too.
I 100% agree.
Yeah. So, Bestie, what first of all, thank you again to everyone who's tuning in. We appreciate you so much for sticking with us. Whether you're here live or on the replay, we just appreciate all your support so much. There's been so much support coming in, even like the week leading up to the show for Karis. So we love you all so much. Um,
Yeah, thanks.
so, Bestie, what have been the most challenging, and then some would have been most positive about being impacted by cancer your entire life? And did it change your life, your view of life in any ways?
Yeah, most challenging is not like growing up not knowing any different and um just yeah, just not knowing any different and knowing that something was off, but like you just go with it, right? And also just seeing my mom, this beautiful person on the inside and out, um, struggle so much. The emotional aspect of cancer and wanting to do so much. I mean, we went on vacations, like good vacations, but we had to go, to all these historical vacations out on the East Coast. Like, I don't know how many times I've been to Jamestown in
Wow.
100-degree weather in June. Like, Mom, they died of malaria. Like, why are we here? And, and relaxing Virginia Beach and all that. And then she had this thing where she wanted to make sure that all of our students went to DC. She wanted to make sure that because a lot of people inner city and when she taught small town Indiana, like a lot of them had never been out of the tri-state area or the state alone, right? So she wanted to
Yeah.
make sure that that was at least one place that they had visited in their lifetime that was not their area. And so she was always thinking bigger. And I just now as an adult, as a female, with just as much as feist as she does, as she has, I just I wish that she would have seen how amazing she was and was more of an advocate for herself and was more on her own personal power versus wanting to make sure everyone was good. And, so that was challenging. And at the same time, I saw what it looked like to be that kind of person to get shit done, you know, and how
Yeah.
it can be a good thing. It can be a good thing because if it's for a good cause, right? Or if it's for a deeper meaning. And, now as an adult, it's like, well, how do you do it without wrecking yourself, without, overextending? And, but just seeing the utmost like beauty and strength with the whole, um, pain and um, anxiety of not knowing what the future was going to hold, of wanting to control that or know that aspect, So just seeing all of it at the time, it was confusing, like growing up with it. But now I really appreciate it. And despite it being confusing at the time, um, I don't I'm so grateful for the life that I had with my mom and dad and my brother, because I've learned what I've learned now because of all of that, and now I can tweak it. Before my mom passed, I said, I just want to break the cycle. We can be badasses, but I want going forward, us women are going to know we're badasses and we're not going to be wrecked by it. We're just going to be even better by it. And she knew what that meant. And, but yeah, that's my view, and that's the challenges and the positive aspects of it.
Garen says, hello, team.
Hey, Garen.
Thanks for being here. Leah would like to connect with you.
Yeah, definitely. Send me a request, guys.
Yeah. Bob, I think he likes coffee. He says, I think we need to reach out to Folgers and Keurig as sponsors too, along with Puffs and Kleenex, of course.
Yes, definitely. And if we're going the beverage route, then I go for Tem's favorite Pinot Grigio, or no, not Pinot. I don't know, white wine maker. We need a sponsor, and Four Roses sponsor. Because after this show, sometimes you just
yes,
Four Roses and a Kleenex. Cry it out.
Emily says, great memories, Kara.
Thank you, Emily.
And she didn't know about the color that you were explaining, I guess about the gray.
Yeah. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. And Emily said she's done the breast cancer 3-day walk 5 times. Her mom walked with her twice. And she could not keep up with her. And when she had a boot on her foot after a surgery, oh my goodness.
Yeah, your mom sounds like a total toughie.
And oh my gosh, Peter Clark, you're here. Peter.
Hey, Peter. Oh my gosh.
Such an honor. Peter Clark.
Thank you.
And Diane is here because of you, Peter Clark. And she has been commenting. And just thank you so much for all your support. It's so appreciated. And your shows are amazing. Everybody connect with Peter Clark.
Mm-hmm.
He has a show. Peter, put in the comments. I'm sure you won't because you're too humble, but put in the comments about your next show because your show is amazing. He has the most heartful community as well over on his show. Yeah, it's just powerful.
Yeah.
Powerful.
But yeah. Peter Clark, life is too short and too long to be humble. So just put your show in the comments. Do it. We got you. Do it.
Yes. And also, in case he's too humble, I'm just going to drop that right there.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, all right, guys. So a few more questions.
Tam, okay, so thank you for bearing with us, guys. Tam, super sweet. I do want to cut in and be a horrible guest and just cut in and say thank you so much for giving me this space. He's doing an extended interview for me on purpose. Yes. I didn't want to cut things short last week either, so we went a little over, but he's like, this is your first time, so just take the ball and run with it. So that's what we're doing. And so thank you for being on. If you guys are still holding on, thank you for your time.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So bestie, how has being affected by cancer affected your relationships? Is it harder or easier to get closer to people?
So it's not very cut and dry because on one hand, it's easy to get close to people who also have experienced trauma. And sometimes that can be a really good thing. And sometimes that can be a really horrible thing. Because because then you're like into that whole drama bond thing too, which like never ends well. But some of my very best like friends, Tim included, we all just have this dark and twisty part of ourselves, and we keep things moving in our lives. But we have that dark and twisty, and that's kind of our connector. And we just let each other be who we are in the process, right? And
Mhm.
but in the meantime, there have been people who have really wanted to get to know me on a personal level, friendship or romantic, and they're like Pepe Le Pew in like a non-assaulty way. They're like, "Hi, I just want to be your friend." I'm like, "Get away from me! I don't trust that." Right? Like, get away with you and your happiness. and,
Yeah.
and so that's hard, and because I have been learning, like I've dated, like I've had my share of dates the last few years, but I have not had a serious relationship in 3 years, because for me it is very important to, like, I'm at a place where I have really good friendships. I don't have a lot of friendships, but the ones I do, like, I have those core friendships, and then I have the people that I can just count on to just be awesome, you know? And so I
Yeah.
have like layers. And um, so for me, my life is complete in that way. Like, I just layer people around, and I make sure to love myself like first, and get to know who I am and be strong in my identity, and know that if I'm having trouble sometimes, like, there are those like one or two people who, if I need to at any time, they're like, we're reminding you, and that's good to have, right? But I've
Yeah.
really just wanted to focus on that, and really kind of, you know, I've not been in a relationship and for a while, and to be honest, I don't know what that would look like for me, because in the past I have been attracted to, because it is so easy to fall into the dark and twisty, that if I'm like, oh, if there's like if there's like a dark and twisty they haven't resolved, then I'm like, oh, I can't go in there. I can't walk around it. So that's hard to navigate too.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm at a point where I'm not terrified to meet people or get to know someone. I'm just more, not careful, but more intentional. And, like, I used to, like, oh, if I felt like you did me wrong in any way, or if I felt like it was unsafe or uncompatible to my dark and twisty, then I would shut you out completely, block you, pretend you didn't exist, right? Because your
Yeah.
whole existence was like a or like compromise my safety. But now it's like, whatever. I'll just like tuck you over here and like put a rock on you and like, don't move. And
Just like
and
that.
it's a little better now. So yeah, the more that I think the more that I'm aware of myself and my dark and twisty, the better it is. But for a while, oh my gosh, it was horrible. It was like when you first are grieving, you're like, you just want to be close. You're like,
Yeah.
I just want to be physically close, but don't talk to me. I can't deal with feelings, you know? But
Yeah.
I'm in a much better place now.
Good.
I will
Good.
still probably be like, don't talk to me here and there, but it's not my MO. It's not my go-to anymore. too much.
Yeah. And speaking about feelings, and this is the last question, so I thought we'd go out on a positive note. So the last question is, what are your perspectives on grief?
I mean, that's not positive. Grief is horrible. Yeah. Grief is such a horrible thing, and it's so necessary. Like, I think a lot of us, like most of us, when grief is presented to us, we still deny it. Like, nah, I'm good, I'm fine. Like, it's a badge of honor to not feel grief or to be the strongest person in the room. But denying yourself emotion does not win any awards. And if anything, it just makes you tightened up inside. And I just, my perspectives on grief is that grief is so necessary and to embrace it, because with grief, like without love, there is no grief. So if you're grieving someone, it means you love them, that you loved them. And why would you want to deny yourself that, or deny your loved one that? Because that's the only thing that you have of that person. I used to think, like, oh, if I have to hold on to all my like weird little traits that set me up for failure, because if I let go of them, I'm somehow losing my parents, or I'm somehow losing a part of something I know familiar. And or if I let go of this, like, I don't know, something, anything, then I won't have my parents. But the truth is I will always, and I know this sounds weird, but I will always have my grief. And by definition, to me, that means that I will always have my love for them. And so that means that I always have them. So I'm never not going to have them, because I will always grieve and I will always love them. And so that's the perspective of grief that I have taken a long time to really have and own for myself. And I'm very proud of that, because there have been a lot of dark days that I know a lot of people have probably gone through in their own journeys that you don't want to think about, but you have them. And if you don't feel your feelings on grief, you have a lot more of those horrible days. But if you let the love in, then you're still going to have those days. And you're also going to have those moments where you look downstairs and you realize you suddenly feel like listening to your Chuck Mangione album, because it was your dad's album, and you don't really care for Chuck Mangione, but you just feel like playing it, and so you do, right? Or today I was playing Barry Manilow for Mom. She loved Barry Manilow, right? So letting that love in. When I think of grief now, I think of love. And so again, that's my perspective. You're right, Mr. Tim.
Yeah, sorry, I just wanted to put this here. That's powerful.
Thank you.
That's
Probably
so
gonna rewatch
said.
this and just like cry tomorrow.
Sending you love.
Thank you.
Love. Do you feel it?
Sending everyone love.
Yes, everyone. Do you feel it? Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you.
So So yeah, just thank you, Kara, for sharing your story, for sharing your mom's story, for sharing your perspective, your um, you know, your personal power perspective as a daughter, all the different perspectives you shared tonight. I know it was really, really powerful, and a lot of people here resonated with it, which is clear through the comments and everyone who showed up. So, and I know you wanted to, connect with other people that you could relate to, so hopefully that happens for you, or has happened already. So
Yeah. Part of the whole receiving thing was for me to want to be able to see who else this reached, because when you're in it, you feel like you're in it alone. And especially when you grow up thinking you have to carry everything on your own. And so knowing the truth and how different that is, and how it couldn't be further from the truth. Like I wanted to see, like, who did it resonate with? Like, who are my people out there? Like,
yeah,
and just for little Kara, for young Kara, and for my mom, and whatnot. So just seeing that and seeing other people share their stories, like, I knew that I wasn't alone, but thank you so much, guys. Thank you for allowing me to receive just this beautiful time right now tonight.
yeah,
And thank you
absolutely.
so much, Tam. My goodness. Everyone give Tam lots of love. He loves his little humble stuff, but we're not about it. Like, just, Tam's amazing. Tam, thank you.
I'm going to deflect to Senor Paisado, who is once again referring to the pinion branches.
Are you broken today? Like, you have a lot of other things. Are you broken? He's just on repeat.
I'm going to put something in the private chat for you.
Ideas for Diane's dating website. That's what we're doing. Just kidding. Yeah. Let's do it.
Huh?
Do it. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Okay, where are my paws?
Wow, this is okay, guys. So this is something is going to happen here that was not planned. Someone amazing is going to join us on screen, and he shows up. He has an amazing live show, and he shows up for others all the time in the comments and in direct messages. And he has been so supportive of this show. He reached out when he saw that we were starting it, and so I believe he's going to be joining us momentarily. But in the meantime, we could share with you guys that we are still looking for guests to be on the show. So if you want to be a guest and you don't mind having comments about pinion branches, there we go. And it appears that we have the one and only Peter Clark with us. And here we go. Peter Clark. Oh my gosh.
Peter.
How are you? How are you? Good to see
Good.
you,
How are
Tim. Good to see you,
you?
Claire. How are you? Nice to meet you. We haven't met before, so nice
Nice
to
to
meet
meet
you.
you.
Yeah, good
Thanks
to
so much
see
for
you.
being here.
Listen, I have no idea why these things happen. I literally have no idea why they're happening. And I just wanted to reach out to you because I'll put it in context in a second of why I wanted to reach out to you while you're still alive and so on. But hey, congratulations on the concept of the show. Obviously, we talked about that privately, and I think it's just so important to use, your stories. I mean, your stories and your expertise to be able to broadcast, and then to be able to take the stories and amplify and give people, space and hold space for people's stories and being able to have these conversations. So congratulations on that. I told you, Tim, privately, I have an idea for that I've been sitting on. So I
Yes.
applaud you for moving it forward much quicker than I could ever do. So that's good.
Yeah,
It's
I remember
fantastic.
you mentioned that, and that's
Yeah, that's
amazing.
another, and that's farther in the future, and it only came to fruition because I had someone pass recently. Again, it takes those moments, does it? It takes those moments. It takes moments in time that just go, wow, life is so short, it's so fleeting, and it's so unpredictable and unforgiving. So you have to be very aware of your intentions, and when you put them out there like that, just follow through. I mean, especially if you have ability to amplify really important stories. And that's why I do what I do, and I know that's why you guys do what you do. And Kara, I'm sorry I didn't hear most of your story tonight and so on, but I'll go back and do the replay and stuff and find out
Replay. Thank you. Yes.
find the conversation and so on. So yeah, so the strange reason why, again, I had no reason to be on here at all. And that's why I normally reach out when normally I don't have any business being anywhere. That's normally when I feel like I'm supposed to kind of add something. And that's the truth. If it shows up, if it's like, okay, well, what does that mean? But tonight I was just literally, as we were speaking, I was on my computer. I was just on my laptop and on LinkedIn, and I saw that you were live. But at the same time, I literally was just receiving a call from my beautiful spouse who's in a different country right now. She's with her family because her dad has cancer right now, and so she's down dealing with that, and that's only been over the last 72 or X hours that she's had to travel to Trinidad. That's where she's from, and so she was calling me. So literally, as I literally just hung up before I clicked to join you, and yeah, I mean, I know that this is a space for those kinds of conversations. So I think, just being in that space, I just realized that, there is no one that you cannot throw a fridge and not hit somebody. I mean, it's impossible to not be within, 3 feet of somebody who is not connected. And it's interesting. I know that you probably have these stories that there's no one that comes on your show or even that we talk to. I mean, this is what's so interesting is that everyone is connected to it. I mean, everyone has a disproportional connection to it, whether they know it or not. And in my case, it's through through my spouse and so on. I mean, I've lost other people in that process recently, but this is top of mind right now for us right now. And so, maybe part of the wanting to come on and just tell that part of the story is that, one way or another, you're going to be connected to it and it's going to be in real time. And the hardest part of what's happening now, of course, with COVID over the last 18 months or 2 years here is, traveling for people to be able to connect with people and be able to physically be there and have those kinds of conversations. So, yeah, I just wanted to share that with people because I think it's important for, in the context of this, is that obviously the person that's dealing with it is the number one priority, and then the family members, and then it starts spreading out. It starts spreading out and ripples out, and it affects so many different households and families, and all of the emotions that go with that. Like, so for me, there's literally no thing I can do, like nothing I can do. And it's there's that humility that has to show up where you just, wow, I just can't do anything other than try to be there. And physically I can't be there because of regulations and so on. It's very difficult to be traveling around to different countries right now. So we were just trying to deal with one person doing that. And so, yeah, you had those emotions. So for all those, all those amazing people that are out there just trying to, support others that are going through it, and others of others of others and so on. It's like I said, you cannot find your this 6 degree stuff is just, it just doesn't apply to cancer. It's 1 degree. It's literally 1 degree. It's right next to you,
Yeah.
your neighbor, right? So anyway, I just wanted to share all that with you because it was top of my mind, and I saw you on, and then I saw you online. And I was like, oh well, I know you have a brand new show, and I want to
Oh,
support your show. And again, I think it's just an
yeah.
amazing concept, and it's an amazing space for people to gather and share stories and so on. And I know, Tim, we put together a couple, or I had someone reach out to me that I hope that you guys get a chance to connect and tell that story.
Yes, thank you. First of all, sending
Yeah.
lots of love to
And
your spouse and her dad,
Yeah, thank
and
you.
Diane, who was
mhm.
here tonight, and she was commenting.
Oh,
So thank you so much. Yes.
I missed.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll definitely. Okay, I'll go back and definitely see the repeat and find out a little bit about that. That's
Yeah, definitely. And thank you so much for wanting to come on and just kind of be a part of it. It shows us how necessary this type of show is.
Yeah.
Like we have wanted to make sure that when we have people on, like we all just have that time and space to like just share the story and give that person the mic, and for you to feel so compelled to be like, oh my gosh, great, this is amazing, thank you, this is touching me right now because of my own experience right now, like that, just thank you, and that just makes my heart bigger for sure. Like, in words of Tim, I can't speak for Tim, but it makes my heart big. And so thank you. Thank you for coming on and sharing. And I do want to add that it's not, unfortunately, when someone is going through something, we want to put our ego in it unintentionally. Ego in terms of like insert our identity into it.
Sure.
And oftentimes it's not about us, it is about them. And so
Bingo.
the most powerful thing I could always say is just, how can I help you? What do you need? Sometimes it's not even me, it's like, what do you need? Like my
Yeah.
mom, okay, let's get her, or whatever, like what do you
Yeah.
need? And that is super powerful.
Yeah, and I don't know enough about. I don't claim to be a psychologist by any stretch of the imagination. There is something about the male. It's a male thing. We just
Mhm.
feel like we need to solve things. So when our closest people around us are, experiencing very difficult situations, we want the answer, and we want to give it, we want to provide it, we want to be able to say, here it is, cross that T, dot that I, and everything will be kumbaya. And it's just, these are real life, life and death things that there's no simplicity to it. There's a complexity to it that also then ties in with your emotions. So your thinking brain and then your emotional brain are trying to kind of come together. You're trying to traverse that 13 inches between our brains and our hearts and trying to have those conversations. And it's very, I can only speak for me, is that, I know that I gravitate to that instantly, where I think like, okay, I need help. And helping means there's a physicality of doing something.
Yeah.
Maybe sometimes it's just holding space. I mean, I know that it's easy for me to do that on a show, but when you're trying to really feel like you're impactful, sometimes you think that it has to be tangible. And here's an example of where, I guess we're having this conversation, which reminds people that just being present for people, being available for people, holding that space for people is sometimes just as important to them and less about you. And so that's a very valid point.
Mhm.
Great reminder of that. So I appreciate that.
And you're welcome. And it is okay. Like the fact that you want to insert yourself is a beautiful thing, because that's where the love shines on, right? It's not about the ego as much as you just want to put your identity in there because you love and care for the people. regarding this. So, and I get it. Like I'm from, small town in Indiana. So it's like anything bad happens or anything that needs deflecting, it's like, okay, no words. We just start cooking, we
Yeah.
just start
Right.
making
Well,
things.
everyone knows everyone's busy. That's a small town Indiana. Well, I'm a big
Yeah.
Indiana fan, just so you know. I'm a John Mellencamp fan, so right
Yeah.
away, I'm
And then I'm
already
like,
there.
do you need your door fixed?
Right.
Like I'm
Right.
making a pie, but do you need this door fixed as well? Like it's a little,
100%.
let me fix it for you.
Yeah. I grew up in Eastern Canada, and Eastern Canada is kind of very famous for that kind of temperament of how communities roll. They just, everyone sort of knows each other, and even if you don't know each other, you just so relate to the situation because you know that person is just like me because we are in the same community, and that's how it is in the Eastern. So just like you said, as soon as you hear about anything, it's like, okay, we gotta cook something, we gotta drop something off, we gotta go help someone do something, we gotta and that's a great community experience for anybody. I feel for those who don't have that, and I feel for those who aren't, obviously surrounded by a sense of community. And of course, the last 18 months have not been compliant with allowing us to be like that. I mean, we're just not even allowed in people's spaces. We can't go into their homes. We cannot show up just randomly. In most cases, we can't do that. So, visiting hours don't apply. Let's put it that way. It just doesn't apply anymore. So, so I feel for those who are doing that. So, all I could say about that is making sure that you check in with the strongest, toughest people you think, because they're the ones that are probably sometimes struggling. I know that I never let my guard down. That's and that's not a good thing. I mean, so that's the example. That's why I'm sharing this with you right now. It's raw and real in front of me right now. Normally, I don't care. I don't talk about these things on my own show because I had a show today. I don't talk about these things when I do things because that's not how I feel I'm supposed to hold my space.
Because it has to do with something that's related to you. Right.
Yeah. So, and thus the value of a space like this, and thus the value is being able to say to people that, whatever you normally do, this space is going to give you that permission to go outside of that norm and provide that. So I just wanted to share that with you because I think there's probably so many people that can relate to being just 1 degree, 2 degrees of that, 3, whatever it is, and still feel, a lot of emotion. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You are pretty much like a celebrity in our minds. So, kind of the little people over here. But if you ever need anyone to listen or talk,
I appreciate that.
Or you can Zoom, and then I can tell you how to fix your door. Like,
or deliver a pie, or send a pie.
Definitely. I know some good bakeries. But yeah, if you personally, if you need anything, even if it's like, hey, could you just send me something? Like, can you just send me a nice text today? Or just tell me I've got this. Like, I'm all for it.
I appreciate that. And Tim, like say, hey man, I'm super proud of the concept. I love the idea. It's not been far from my mind only because I've been around multiple people in specifically the last, say, 3 years or so, maybe a little bit more, but maybe over the last 3 to 5 years. I think COVID has obviously just amplified that disconnect. But certainly over the last 3 to 5 years, it's been just, as we get older, and I think that's probably part of my journey as well. As I'm getting older, I just, your parents get older and relatives and even your friends, as you get older, your friends are getting older, which means the opportunity for them to experience cancer and, with them or their family is amplified. So it just seems to be showing up a lot. And I think that anytime we can use our expertise, when I sense expertise, I just mean be able to do this, create a space where people can kind of come in and have conversation. I just think it's super powerful. And, I'm just a fan of what you guys are doing, and I just applaud you. And I'll try to support as much as I can, and just keep doing what you're doing. I just appreciate it. I appreciate it.
You.
Thank you
Great
so
to see
much,
you.
Peter. And you've always been so supportive on Brian Schulman's shows. You've come on Shout Out Saturday. You've sang. Your songs are always right on point with whatever somebody is going through that you don't know about, but somehow you do in your heart. That's what you play. It's amazing, and you're amazing, and all your guests on your shows, they're so heart-centered. And so when there's a Peter Clark show, if I don't have anything else going on, I am there.
Thank
For
you, my
sure.
friend. I appreciate that.
And just thank you for, sharing that with us live tonight. That just means so
Yeah.
much to us that you would send me a direct message and say, hey, could I come on live with you like right now? And I was like, Peter Clark, absolutely. Yes.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And thank
Again,
you for telling us what you needed, because you needed to talk and we needed to listen. And so thank you for telling us that that's what you needed.
Oh, I see right there. Or this way. Sorry, this way. Beautiful melody. Listen, anytime I can get a Boston accent in my memory, that's fantastic. Good to see her as well. Yeah, I think the purpose of just this was, to your point, Kara. Thank you for that. You're right. It's just I literally just hung up my phone right here and then clicked on your thing. So it's very top of mind. It's very present with me. I wouldn't normally share it because it's a context that and I'm not sure what the reason is of that. So I'm saying these things out loud for other people to remind them that it is important for you to share those stories. I know for me, my vision of what I'm supposed to be doing is always about amplifying others, which means it's not about me. So it's very difficult for me to kind of, go on, something that I'm doing to talk about me because I'm not interested in that.
Yeah.
But it's a recognition of that we all are in the same storm. We are on different boats.
Yeah.
We're all on different boats,
Right.
but we're in the same storm. And, reach out to these opportunities to Tim or Kara and these types of opportunities to, if you feel disconnected or you feel that you have to tell your story or you want people to have some sort of, a cathartic experience of being able to just speak what you need to say. There's something magical about doing it here. I'm not sure what it is. That's why I love doing it, because I'm not even sure what it is. So to your point, Tim, about the people that come on my show, they're just amazing people. It has nothing to do with me. They're just amazing people. And if you give them the space to be amazing, strangely enough, they become amazing. So, and so the same thing with here. So people that are dealing with this. So listen, I know it's near the end of your show. I so appreciate you having me. Just wanted to applaud you. I'm a fan. I love the context. I love the stories. I love the fact that you're just trying to use technology as a force for good. And that's what you're doing. So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay.
We
I'm gonna
love
Thank you,
you, Peter
Peter.
Clark. Thank
I'm
you
gonna
so
let you
much.
guys go. It's great to
Yes.
see you
Keep
guys.
us posted.
Absolutely.
Yes, for sure.
You take care. Good to see you.
Bye.
Wow.
Yeah. Tam, you were really good at giving me space. And thank you so much, everyone, for holding on for an extra hour. But you were so good at giving me space that it was serendipitous timing that Peter popped on. And there's a reason, like, he needed it. So thank you again, Peter, for that. And I mean, guys, seriously, if you ever, we are here. Message us. If you want to be on our show ever, let us know. We will pencil you in. And if you ever need to talk, if you ever need a second opinion on a home repair or an apple pie, I'm your girl. But halftime pee break, Senior Payasada. Sorry, I'm producing again.
Hey, halftime pee break.
But
we will be wrapping up soon,
yeah.
although we are at halftime of Shout Out Saturday time. Yes.
We are.
This is when
But,
normally head, shoulders, knees, and toes would happen.
Yes. But we're here, and I think it's amazing that Peter felt so compelled. So thank you. We love you, Peter. We love you all.
We do.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. We do love you so much. So much.
You're right over there, Tim.
Yeah, my heart is just so full tonight. What about you? How are you feeling?
I'm in like, let's go. We got this mode. And then
Yeah.
afterwards we'll be like, "Wee." So it was so pretty.
Yeah. So so next week we have our first guest that isn't either of us or Peter Clark.
Yeah.
We have the one and only Steve Sullivan, who's a 35-year acute leukemia survivor. We just talked to him last night. We had a great 1-hour conversation with him. He's going to be talking about living beyond cancer and advocacy. So that's going to be a really interesting conversation for sure. And he's one of the people that inspired me to share my my leukemia journey with his National Cancer Survivor Day video. So I'm really excited about that. And then after that, we have Olune is joining us on December 7th.
Yes.
So we're looking forward to that. And then on December 14th, Dorothy is going to be talking about watching someone you love die of cancer and lessons learned. On December 21st, Rob is going to be talking about recovering from the loss of 2 key family members from cancer. December 28th, Jamie Washington is going to be talking about living with cancer as a business owner, wife, mom, sister, daughter, and friend. January 11th, Patty Hone is going to be talking about the physical and emotional pain of cancer. And January 25th, Emily Harmon, from the caregiver's perspective, forgiveness, feelings. Yeah. So really looking forward to hearing their perspectives and their stories for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Most definitely. It's an incredible lineup, and we are, yes, oh my gosh. Thank you, Peter. It's an incredible lineup, and Peter Clark, please get on our Calendly and make an appointment. Make a date for you to be on our show, dear sir. And but yeah, if you want to be a guest, please do. We just really want to make space for everyone, just to talk, because all of our stories are valid. So thank you so much for your time tonight. We appreciate you so much.
Yes. Yes. So have a wonderful Thanksgiving, everyone. We're so thankful for all of you. I'm thankful for my bestie, Kara Oelker, because she's amazing. And I'm so proud of her for sharing her journey, her mom's journey tonight.
Thankful for you, this man. Thank you.
And we'll see you next week for another episode of Showing Up Perspectives on Cancer.